Real quick, I need to answer these questions because they have been coming through and I've not been answering because I've been busy. I want us to answer them. Someone asked, uh, okay, why didn't I? I'll only do the questions, I'll not read your names. I've never given out that confidential information, but I get your questions and I write them and try to deliver videos in my free time. So someone asked me, why didn't I get a full credit on my refunds from the federal? Specifically, the question was looking at child tax credit. Why didn't I get full child tax credit of $2,200 on my refunds from the federal? Yet, my kid is just 11 months. Okay, this was the scenario. Oh, this is the thing. You can only get full credits and full tax breaks if you paid your taxes. When I looked into this person's scenario, I discovered she never paid any taxes, no federal taxes in the year. So if you've never paid any taxes in the year, then before they even get you these tax credits, they have to first take off the would-be tax portion you would have paid in the year, especially if you were working. Looking into this scenario, I discovered this person, she has been working and she has a W-2, but they never withheld any federal taxes. So if this withholding wasn't done, if you did not fill in a W-4 to withhold federal taxes, we are going to have these taxes removed before even they give you the refund. That's why you are not getting a full refund, yet your kid is young, is in the age that you're supposed to get the refunds. So also the same thing goes to you who was asking me about the income tax credit. You see the word and income tax credit, you can only get this credit if you actually worked. So for you who had no W-2, you've not worked anywhere, no 1099, so you've not worked, this is called and. You have to earn it, meaning for you to get this particular tax credit, you must have worked, and you can see you've been working. Probably you've been paying some federal taxes or some state taxes. So if you've not earned, you cannot get that particular credit. Another person asked, I lived in a different state for half a year and also another state for half a year. What do I have to do? Okay, I'll not, of course, tell the details of which state or to which state, but I would use maybe my example. I lived in 2 states. I lived in Massachusetts and another state in the same year. So this means I have what we call a resident state and a non-resident state. Now, when we are filing taxes, we start with the non-resident state. The non-resident state is the state where you lived earlier and you left, you went to another state. So we shall start with the non-resident state when you're filing, then we do the resident state. The resident state, we shall consider it as the state you lived in by 31st December. So that would be the resident state. You have to understand the issue of residency when it comes to taxes. And now, my international students, there is a very big difference when you talk about residence in terms of immigration and residence in terms of tax. So for this particular reason, I'm talking about residence for tax purposes. For this matter, we file the non-resident state first, maybe for this one lived part here, then the resident state last. Again, when you're looking at this income, we will have to find out where were you making the money. Did you make any money when you are in the non-resident state or in the resident state? We want to determine which state has to tax which income, because our objective is to make sure you're not double taxed on the same income. So I think I've answered you. File the non-resident state first, then do the resident state later. Okay, but what if you worked, asked me, but if I still work in the state that you left? This person asked me, what if I'm still working in the state that I left? For example, let me say in Florida, and I left Massachusetts, and as much as I live in Massachusetts, in Florida, but I still work in Massachusetts. Now, we are going to take Massachusetts to be your non-resident. You're no longer staying there. we are going to take Florida to be your resident state because you live here. Now we are going to tax this income in the state where it is obtained. This question is kind of tricky because it is a case per case scenario. I know this person was answered privately in box and it's okay, but for general understanding, this is a case by case scenario. There is no general answer. There is no one answer that answers everybody because there are different cases and different scenarios. You will find this is a citizen, and maybe for you you're not. So there are cases.